What's up, dreamers? So Bruce Rivers, the criminal lawyer, has come back with another update on the Andrew Tate situation. Today he's covering Andrew Tate's detention and also the admissible evidence that's been accepted into his case that's coming up in a couple of days. So let's get right into it. We're not going to waste no time. Let's see what Bruce Rivers has to say about the update in Andrew Tate's case. Get it. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer, but who is he? And what'd he do? I love that intro,
Hi, this is
man.
Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Today we're reacting to the judge's order on Andrew Tate. But before we do that, this is brought to you by eSign.com.
Again?
eSign.com.
Another eSign sponsor? Come on, man. We got to learn about Andrew Tate here.
From some incels on our channel about Andrew Tate.
Oh, boy.
Guy say, so sad that a lawyer is jealous of Andrew Tate. He'll never reach his level. I hope not. I don't want to be in a Romanian jail cell where 56 other guys are the same toilet that's in the middle of the room. I hope I don't reach his level. Some of the detractors have been saying that I take things out of context and, what color is your Bugatti? And whatever. And so I am going to kind of break down what the judge said. And I think I already did a thing about taking things out of context. But let's talk about what the judge focused on in determining the decision to keep him detained. First of all, Romania is a country that's part of the International Convention Against Sex Trafficking. So they're trying to standardize things across the globe because sex trafficking by its nature is borderless. In other words, if everybody has the same type of structure against sex trafficking, it should work as a kind of a global thing to prevent it. If there's a safe haven for sex traffickers, that's where they'll go. So that's what the idea is between that international convention. First, the judge references the definition of human trafficking and the protocol regarding prevention and repression and punishment. Human trafficking, especially of women and children, in addition to the United Nations Convention. The judge starts out by talking about the definition and where the law comes from. But then he starts talking about concrete danger for the public that they present. And even if the defendants are not known with criminal past, the charge represents a state of normality that cannot justify, in context of the present case, the release.
So essentially, the whole topic of Andrew Tate being a human trafficker comes in a very nuanced way, right? Because obviously he's not just running up on the street and stealing people off the street and then selling them on the black market, but there is a nuance to it. So the claims that are being made is that he used some sort of coercion to get these women to adhere to coming over to Romania, or even the UK at the time that they said that he was doing it, and then he convinced them or frauded them into staying or forced them into staying by either there were reports that he stole passports, but then the fraud aspect comes in the fact that he brought them there on false pretenses, and then once they're there, you tell them that they're there for something else, and you use other methods like withholding money from them and making it clear to them that they can't survive without you, to fraud them into staying. It's going to be a tough case if that's the argument they're trying to make. It would be a lot more easy for them to say, he physically forced them to stay there, but I don't think that's the case here at all. Like, at all.
To the defendants at this procedural moment in relation to the high gravity of the alleged crime of human trafficking and the creation of a criminal group organized for which they are investigated. And then the other thing he talks about in the order is the judge talks about we had that stuff that had happened in London. Well, the judge says even though that's not a crime, it cannot be ignored. So he's using that, and he fled to this jurisdiction, and he's also using the fact that he's talked in videos and flaunting flight. He talks about that in his order.
If I fuck up and England wants me in jail, I can fly on a Nigerian passport, or an American, or an English, or a Polish, or an Estonian. I have so many passports. What, are you going to block them all?
Everything he is doing is consistent. But here's even the kicker. Looking at private videos
The
that are
kicker.
part of the police file, from the the following passages from the context of this content, there is no doubt a deep lack of respect for the legal norms and a total indifference to the social protected values that the defendant gives proof of.
Oh no, not a court in Romania. Internationally respected Romanian courts. Put me in jail.
Get me out of jail. The law says you're guilty. I said get me out of jail. Don't go see a lawyer to talk about the law. I've committed multiple felonies. How much
Fix
does
my
it
problems.
cost to make this all go away?
But also the attitude of disregard towards women in general, which he perceives only as a mean of getting his content released. In other words,
Right, but so if you're acknowledging, to me, I know this guy's a judge, and I know Bruce Rivers is a lawyer, so they understand the legal jargon and they understand like the nuances of the laws that they're discussing. But to me, if you're establishing there that he's doing those things specifically for the output of his content, specifically for marketing purposes, then you're also acknowledging that it isn't real, right? Like you're acknowledging that he's doing it for the awe factor. He's not doing it because that's actually what he is. But again, I could be wrong. These guys are board certified.
the judge cannot agree with the support of the defense in the sense that the video contents presents only one character and cannot be taken into account since the defendant exhibits the same attitude in the relations with the injured persons and is evident from the content of the conversations that are in these criminal prosecution files. The defense had made an argument. You can't really look at what he's saying on those videos because that's just a character that he's playing. Well, the judge has also looked at some private files, and the judge says, I can't ignore it. You know, you look in some of the things, he shows you his 7 passports. I mean, who has 7 passports? And if you look at, we'll show you some video in a minute about the search. You look at the guns, you look at the passports, you look at all the other things that are on the table. He's ready to rock and roll. I mean, why does he need all this stuff? Well, I'll tell you why. Because he fled one jurisdiction, and he's worried about people coming.
Is the question why does he need it or just why does he have it? If he has the right to have those things, then you don't have to question why he needs them. He has the right to have multiple passports and the guns.
In general, regarding the need to prevent the commission of another crime, purpose mentioned in enumerated paragraph 202, blah blah blah. The judge notes the situation by which his conduct prior to committing the act is the subject of the case. The defendant proves the real risk of repeat criminal behavior. The judge is basically saying is, if you look at some of the recent statements put out by his camp, Andrew Tate has nothing but the utmost respect for law and authority. They're nothing but the most respect for the Romanian courts.
Oh no, not a court in Romania.
Of course they're going to say that now. But what did he flaunted it on his video. He absolutely flaunted it. Andrew Tate's videos that he made are completely biting him in the ass. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. When Andrew Tate tells you he's got 7 passports because he could go to Romania, I could go to Bulgaria, I could go to Sudan, wherever the fuck he says he's going to go. He's so full of shit. You know, and the thing that kills me, honestly, about this guy in general is the hubris. And he not only preys on these women, but he preys on these young guys with no self-esteem, and they just think he's the bee's knees. Oh, look, he's driving a Bugatti, you know, and he's doing this, he's doing that, and he just has money, hand over fist. Well, you can make money hand over fist, but if you have to look over your shoulder, that's called short money. It's absolutely short money. And so anybody out there who's paying $50 a month to Hustle University, which I don't think exists anymore, is someone that needs to look elsewhere for motivation and support. In that motivation that you're looking for, look at what he did. He started out being successful as a fighter. You don't make a lot of money as a professional kickboxer. He wound up with, when he got done with the fight game, he had 70.
On the comment about Hustlers University, right? I haven't bought into Hustlers University. I haven't bought into anybody's course. But I do believe that people who lack direction, if you aren't in school, if you've got the extra cash, do it. Join it. because at least then you're around like-minded people, you're around other people who are have the same urgency as you or have the same desire to feel better, and it might make you feel better. It might make you feel better to know that you're not spent, that you are spending your $50 on something that is making you feel nice on a monthly basis. So just do it. If it's not gonna be costing you an arm and a leg, which I mean is $50, he made it affordable for that reason because he wants to include as many people as possible. And I think he's got over 150,000 people signed up. Just think about that, though. Think about that a lot. That's $750,000 on a monthly basis going into Andrew Tate's pockets just from you guys. But if it's helping you, then who can really knock it? Who can really blame it? It's helping you.
Into his name. He blew 30 of it trying to gamble it to try to get a place in Thailand, and it was left with $40,000 left. He was going for the quick money. He was selling drugs for a short time.
But fighting wasn't paying the bills, sold drugs, whatever.
And then he does this webcam thing and didn't do it. I mean, the webcam business is not illegal by itself. But to do it the way he did it, and with the deception and the fraud that he engaged in, because that's his MO. That's his MO. He has to get the quick money because he didn't have the skill. Why, I want to say he didn't have the skill set to do it right, but he probably did. But just he got greedy, and I mean, why would you tie up all your money in 33 cars, as he said? I think they just seized another 4 vehicles. He's put himself in a very vulnerable position by engaging in criminal activity. When you break the law, you give the government a foray into your life, right? You just do, because you give the government the ability to then control.
But that's the problem. They have a foray into your life regardless. And when you do it the legal way, they can use all of these legal things that are in place to block you from being able to get that level. If Andrew Tate, I guarantee you, if Andrew Tate tried to do this the legal way, those people that are not doing it the legal way would have blocked him, or the government would have blocked him. There's no way to get to the level that Andrew Tate got to legally. All of the richest people on the planet, I'm guaranteeing you, they broke some sort of law to get there. They broke some sort of they did something that is either unethical, immoral, or illegal to get there. It's just not plausible to get to that level without doing something crazy.
Controlling where he is,
because that's a crazy amount of money.
Had he done this the proper way, and I don't know what that means exactly, because I'm not in the webcam business. The guys that are looking at him as an idol, and there are a lot of you out there. I don't have, Bugatti money. But you know what? If I had to do what Andrew Tate did, I wouldn't want Bugatti money. Even if I had that kind of money, I wouldn't fucking buy a Bugatti. When you set up your program, whatever your program
I
is,
would.
go to work, start your own business, whatever you're doing, you got to do it so that it isn't like Andrew. So he's vulnerable himself, okay? Let's look at what he did. His first victims were addicts, right? Drug addicts. Second victims, and he's always doing something in the back of people. The second victims were the ladies that he was keeping there. And I know some people said they were free to leave at any time. Bullshit. They wouldn't have a case if they weren't. You got 6 people who said they weren't. But then the third victim was you guys. You guys had signed up for a Hustle University. You were hustled. You were online, and he was feeding what you needed to hear. And unfortunately, it was BS. It was absolutely BS. I know it's fashionable in some circles to be full of bravado and say, oh, my bitch is doing this or that, and have this persona. But you know what's even better than that is being revered for being a hard-working son of a bitch and providing for the people around you and having their admiration. That short circle of people. And there's nothing beats that. I have a family that sits around me, and I try to make sure every one of them is taken care of. And I do it through legitimate means. And, it wasn't easy for me to go to law school. When I went to law school, I had shitty grades coming out of college. I didn't think I'd get in.
Tell him, Bruce.
And when I got in,
That's one thing I will say is like not everybody has to be Andrew Tate to be a top G, bro. There's different versions of top G. Now I get there's gonna be the counter argument because I play devil's advocate with myself all the time. Top G means one thing: you got to be the best at everything. But let's be realistic here. You can't be the best at everything. Even Andrew Tate, there are people who had more money than him. There are people who would knock his head off his shoulders. I mean, come on now. John Jones would kill Andrew Tate, but does he have the amount of money he has? No. So, there's always going to be someone that's going to be able to beat you. There's always going to be someone that's stronger than you or that has more time than you or has more money than you. And there's always going to be that thing that you're not the best at. But if you're really, really good at a decent amount of things, and you're really, really good to the people around you, and you're really, really, really focused on making sure your family, your circle, your best friends, your closest women, if you have multiple of them, your mom, your dad, your brothers and sisters are taken care of, then you are being a top G. That is what it means to be a top G, in my opinion. It could be different for everybody else, but I don't even think Andrew would disagree with what I had to say. Because at the end of the day, he did that shit for Tristan, he did that shit for his mom, and he did that shit for himself. Everybody else that came in the circle afterwards came after. But when it was just him and Tristan, that's all he was doing it for. Was being able to take care of himself, take care of his mother, and take care of his brother. And that's it. So you stick to that, and you're a top G, man. Just that simple. Top G.
They're going to put their hand on my shoulder and say, look, we made a mistake. But I worked my ass off, and I really liked law school, and I grinded it out. And it was like 7 years between my first year of college until till the end of law school. And by doing that, guess what? I was able to set up my law practice, and I've been doing this for 25 years, and I have all the trappings of a good life. That is solid. That's where you need to be. So when you look at the decisions that Andrew Tate has made, he's made his bed. And his bed is right now with about 56 other guys in a single room with a toilet in the middle. The next phase for him will be to face the charges, and we'll follow this. So he isn't getting out. The judge has used his videos against him that were in the police file, rejected all the defense, and I wouldn't be shocked if all of a sudden he winds up with new lawyers, because that's the kind of guy that he is. Unless off camera, he's really understanding how much trouble he's in. I heard this. I don't know if this is accurate or not. I heard he could be looking at up to 14 years. I don't know if that's true or not. All I know is he is looking at a boatload of time. He's looking at the better part of 10 years. And at the end of the day, just be good to the people around you. Work your ass off. Have a program that can't, you don't have to look behind you. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Patreon. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Wow. Well, there you go. I don't know, man. I feel like, personally, he gonna beat the case. In my opinion, he gonna beat the case. He gonna beat it. I'm gonna maintain hope. I'm gonna stay tuned. I'm gonna stay up to date. But I feel like there's gonna be some way he beats the case, and they're not gonna hear the end of it if he does. But that's it for now. Dreamers, if you would like, hit the subscribe button. Leave a like, leave a comment so we can discuss this. And if you have any opinions about Bruce, you have any opinions about Andrew Tate, let me know in the comment section down below, man. I enjoy you guys for coming in. I enjoy you guys. It sounded kind of weird. I appreciate you guys for coming in and watching with me. Dreamers, out.